is iRacing.
The great all-round race. If you understand what this circuit does, then there is no need to explain why this is one of the modern miracles of motorsport, which was brought on down from a series, a circuit that used to run all the way through the Belgian villages and back around to the tiny town of Spa that sits itself at the apex of what is normally turn number one. Today, though, a slight difference. An endurance pit start out there overall, which means La Source, normally the first corner, is the last corner today at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry, and along with me for today's action is Craig King. You've got Christian Deploy, who sits in the director's chair. He's using the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But to a circuit like this one like no other, one that always seems to bring the heat and bring the fire that comes along with it. This is a track that if you haven't known this circuit, then my goodness, you're new to racing. Here's a GSRC track guide for those who need to get initiated.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round.
The great all-around circuit that's seen it all, that has done it all. Craig, this is going to be one about drafting for two great places. The run along the Kemmel Straight, the run up to the chicane.
This is the track when you want to learn how to sim race, you go to this track. It's got everything. It's got your high-speed corner, your hard braking, your long straight. You've got your navigation through medium and low-speed corners. And that's what these drivers are going to love in this downforce. Using the classic pits, as Jake said, which means we're on the classic start line. And we're not going to be like Porsche Cup Benelux, which people think are starting there, but they're just doing formation laps. No, they will start there today. That's going to make things interesting when it comes to distance. But to get there, you've got to get there first of all, and those straights are going to be dangerous when it comes to overtaking. This week, well, lap one, Jake, as you can kind of expect, has been a little bit treacherous. A lot of free wides going down into Lacombe. It's a little bit different than what you would normally see, but it's still the same old sim racing moment at Spa. Get past Rétillon, and then you have to wonder, is this Blanchemont? Well, you're not going to get to Blanchemont if you crash out at Lacombe, so downforce important. medium speed, well, medium temperature track today at 31 Celsius. So I do wonder what the drivers have in store for them today. But remember, keep it on the track. There are off tracks here.
There are, and critically, as they set themselves up, championship is going to be a very interesting point of contention because there is no Zach Leon Hardy here today. So that is going to be an opportunity for the likes then of James Barry, of Ross Banfield, of Jack David Spickett to jump up and get some all-important points. Aldris Valentay is clear by 28, and he'll be looking at those behind saying, look, I am going to jump up and say, look, this is me wresting control of a championship. You've got Gabri Martinez then in 6th. He's 20 points back of JDS with Hans Sommer in 7th, Mickey Friesen 8th, and then Dylan Freckleton and Andrew Petty 9th and 10th as they go. For those under 3K, they've got the F2 Championship, and we do have a tiny amount of F2 drivers in here today.
Well, 4 of the drivers in the F2 Championship are in this split today, mentioning as well Diego Mastretta, who is the championship leader, did not have a good time at Fruxton, and we would like to get some more points because Craig Sandin really did well there as well. No Josh Cordell Sandin in this split today. Barry West in 4th is there as well. Be interesting with Cordell, though, because he's not done the first 3 races, and look how close he is. So as we get later to the season, that's going to be one to watch out for. Herner as well, tied with Barry West, Miguel Morland right behind Ben Summers, Remy Villeneuve is there, Jesse Brannon and Brett Whalen. In fact, the only driver who I haven't mentioned in the F2 Championship who's here, Eric Lukul, not even on the F2 title page right now.
No, so great chance for him to go and score some points as he looks to battle. The teams as well have been hard at work trying to score those points. Jib Racing in control, the duo of Ben Summers and Michael Taylor with a Keep Renault Elf in 2nd, and the Vorsteiner Arrows Racing team with the Herners then in 3rd. It's Scuderia Ferrari then in 4th ahead of TVR Racing with Dylan Freckleton, and then you've got Moreira and Mora then at Fittipaldi Automotive Persica. Northern Winter Racing is there in 7th with Byron Long and Dominic Okio-Kyuso, with Candy Team Tyrrell in 8th. 9th belonging to ATS Wheels, and then Totoro Racing with Josephine Becker rounds out your top 10. But for a 21-lap race today, it doesn't sound like a massive amount of laps, but it will feel like a very hard-fought battleground today.
Yeah, and round 8, and most importantly, drop rounds are now into effect for some of these drivers, so this could be your drop round, or you might be waiting as well. 21 laps, as Jake said, going to be a pretty quick race in terms of speed, but not in terms of lap time. Open setup, so use the iRacing baseline. Use a set you've made your own or one provided by the community, but if you crash, your day is done. There is no spare car out there today, but there is a drive-through at 17 incident points, disqualification at 25. Well, drive-throughs, 17 incident points, that's a common theme here at Spa. Old Spa, new Spa, future Spa, does not matter. Drivers will push those limits too much. You might be hearing a famous commentator be screaming in the background, track limits!
Track limits. They are absolutely important here, and track limits will tell you all you need to know about what this circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, is, has been, and always will be out there. Qualifying currently underway. They get 2 laps and 8 minutes to go and set them in. So if you're pushing around as fast as you are for a lap time just over 2 minutes, you have about 2 minutes leeway. So expect most drivers to be out there on track on at least their first lap out there at the point. There is number 3, Jerno Freetscher, who is working his way through at the moment through Bruxelles, up over Malmedy, over to Brussels corner, and knowing here that he wants to get right back into rhythm and momentum that he has done in the past. The living legend himself, Jerno Freetscher, knows he's only a 10th of a second at the moment back of where he needs to be, but he will look around at everyone else and understand car number 1 is yet to set a time. He is now. He's 2/10 clear of him in 4.
Yeah, and look how close it was before Valentay decided that he was going to slam that door and get to the top there. Really close. Jack David Spickett almost had pole. Gernot Freetscher was less than a 10th away from Jack David Spickett, and now Gernot's going to be coming through campus onto the throttle as much as you can. Use that curb to open up through to Stablo right now, and then it's full speed. Little twitch there of the rear of the car as he starts to really put the power down, going up this mini hill, small incline here that you don't really realize that the fans will be there on the left looking at the walkway, hoping that he gets to run in now. And this has also been a tough place for overtakes this week that you take to the middle, that you go to the left. He's going to go hard into the bus stop. Doesn't touch any of that sausage curb. Keeps it clean there. Delays on the throttle because he hasn't got the full lock on. He'll come across the line very shortly. He's got one more corner left to go, remember. It's going to be tight to see if he can get a really good run here through the source. A little bit of a slide, using all the curb he can. That's a little bit of a camber. Andre Castro goes into P2, and down the line goes Gernot Friescher. The legend is going to put himself a couple positions higher.
He'll get third there with that effort. Marco Nurmela is just 200ths down on what is needed at this point. Jack David Spickett looking to try and improve now and say, can I be the one that challenges? It's star-studded up there at the top of this field with Valenteius, Nurmela, Friescher. Andre Castro's had 2 wins today, and Moreira goes up to 7th place, but JDS looking to try and boost up his championship effort now as he gets the drive over to the line. 2:03 flat goes fastest, and he's up by 3/4 of a tenth, but is there a riposte then from Aldrius Valenteius as he will drive over towards the line? 2:01, 2:02. Oh, he's there. 2:03, 002. He will take it by 200ths of a second. Dylan Freckleton now will be looking late to try and see if his improvement is going to be found. He will get his way down the hill towards the line. A 2:03.8 good enough for 16th position. Only Philip Foyt can now put a time in, but he's going to run out of time to get himself, Will the Czechian, over towards the line. So that is going to write it as that for how this field is going to stack up here today at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, with the old in memoriam their wooden house that is now a massive grandstand in play. Aldrius Valenteius then on pole position for this one, with Jack David Spickett alongside Marco Nurmela and Gernot Friescher are 3rd and 4th, with Andre Castro in 5th and James Barry in 6th position. It's Em Moreira 7th and Ross Banfield in 8th as Mickey Friesen starts 9th alongside Gabri Martinez.
To the second page we'll go with Cal Young in 11th, and Andrew Petty will be in 12th. Hans Sommer, the unlucky 13th today, with Kartik Pai returning here in 14th. Josephine Becker will be 15th, and Dylan Freckleton, as we saw at the end, went into 16th, with Luke Turnerson in 17th, Ilka Costasalo 18th, Aaron Blair 19th, but I know he's had to disconnect and may not be back. Michael Stabler rounds out your top 20.
And then to 21st, you've got Josh Brain with 2 little ducks belonging to the F2 Championship leader, Diego Mastretta. Miguel Facado is 23rd with Barry West in 24th. It's then Michael Taylor and Ricardo Espinea. Jean-Francois Bosca starts 27th with Eric Lukel in 28th as Taylor Ballant and Matthias Matthew Siegel makes up your top 32 on the final page, being Martin Reisman and Philip Foyt, then who will set up this field and say 32 cars on a very long run to turn numbers 1, 2, and 3 on this layout. They will climb up over Eau Rouge and Radion, and so what you will see is a big old charge over to Les Combes, the first braking zone of the lap, and to say, can I jump up on a level? Aldrius Valenteius is just trivially going for another Triple Crown effort here today. He's got 2 of the 3. He needs one more. Engine notes, though, have risen. And let's get ourselves underway here. And it's a pretty bad start from Gernot Friescher, who bogs down there from the second row. Andre Castro immediately flies by. Jack David Spickett loses out on the outside. Nurmela's going to get through. Now Castro looking to try and get the run and jump himself up to 3rd. You've got James Barry as well, trying to move up to 4th place as he gets the toe, where Jack David Spickett doesn't. So Valenteius is going to get a clean run here up the hill and say, look, this is what we need. This is how I'm going to find it. Mikel Sabala is the one driver who's run into troubles in the early goings at Les Combes. No dramas.
No comments, but Les Combes. Aaron Blair lit up the tyres on the start, went into the back of Sabala, and now Siegel having a small moment. Jack David Spickett, not the best of starts right here, trying to embody Andy T with delivery today, but it's not working. Side by side with a pro driver, Andre Castro. Well, he's been a pro in iRacing. He was a pro. He just came away from Sebring winning 2 races in the TC America, and now he's going side to side with a former GT Vintage champion, and he sends it in to the double gorgeous, they now say, but it's always going to be Pujon for me. Gets it by, not the start they wanted, because they're losing time to the rest of the field.
The entire field knows how tough this circuit is through Fania. Dylan Freckleton gets down the inside of Kartik Pai. Pai, though, tries to stamp the foot down off of the exit. They're still not clear here to Campus Corner, and ultimately Kartik Pai gets the jump away from Dylan Frampton gets the jump away from Kartik Pai. Wide goes Mickey Friesen, then into the gravel, out of Stavilo Corner, and so Cal Young will pick away through. Gabri Martinez down the inside of Ross Banfield just in front of that though, so it's Pop Art versus Cannon. Take a picture if you want to, because Ross is going to lose that one out as they'll hit the brakes for the first time. Move for second, Andre Castro jumps down the inside of Marco Nurmela.
What can the pro driver do to catch up to the gold standard? Going to be very interesting. Petty's going down the line. We're trying to go around the outside of Blanchard on Mickey Friesen, and unfortunately he could not. We've had a spinner, and it's Nurmela. He's gone too deep into the source, and everyone's going to check up here. There he is, just in the top right-hand corner there. The Glacier Racing car just having a small moment. There is Hans Sommer looking to go, and side by side, it doesn't matter if it's classic, endurance, GP, whatever, side by side, entering Eau Rouge and Radion is never the best thing, but a great run from Sommer. He's got a fantastic run. Where does he go? We may see a three, maybe
wide.
4 wide here.
It's 3 wide on the straight. There's nowhere to go for Hans Sommer as he will watch this one now pull to 2 wide, and Freckleton maintains position with that pass, getting very chippy, and there's the hit that ultimately puts into the gravel and down a good half dozen to maybe 2/3 of a dozen out there for Mickey Friesen, as he will now be behind Cotosalo and Josh Brain looking for a way down the inside now through Brussels Corner. So there's the change out there that looks to bring it into play. It's tough. Marco Nurmela, I think, just outbroke himself there, was scared of running into the back of Andre Castro, and ultimately just had to hit the binders.
I think he was watching a bit too much of Jesse Love yesterday at the final corner of Watkins Glen. We've had Dylan Freckleton into the barrier hard. Pujon there, I wonder if he got tapped. No, lost it on his own and actually just caught too much of that outside curb. It's raised, and if you just run over it in a prototype type car, a low downforce car, that is going to just cause a bump and upset all the apple carts. And drivers who don't want to be in an apple cart today, he's in his little thing. It's Barry West, and there's the replay of Dylan Freckleton losing it. Yeah, it's just overdriving, and can you blame him, Jay? Look how feisty these first 2 laps have been.
Well, they've had to be. This is a draft-dependent circuit. You see it a lot. Preacher losing out now to James Barry, who moves himself up into 4th. And now here's Andrew Petty here on the outside. 13th place. He's got the inside procured off of Hans Sommer. And Sommer now, they fight for traction off the exit of the chicane. They'll go to the final corner here of La Source. And note, where do they want to go? Josephine Becker. She sits then with a perfect view of it. Sommer chucks it in deep. Now let's get the drive off of the exit here. And this is where Andrew Petty is so good, just pushing himself to a limit, saying, I can drive myself to just a level that no one else does. Side by side, up through Eau Rouge, and they're still going to commit themselves off of Radion. Becker now's going to get the run along the grass, pushing it to 3 wide, and now sneaking away through is Cookie Monster. Luke Turnerson, he's going to try and get through. He backs out now at this 3 wide. Becker still trying to work on the outside line. Thank you very much. What a pass.
I mean, what a whole section that was, side by side of Eau Rouge and Radion, and you barely broke a sweat there, Jake. Big moment as everyone gets caught up there. Hans Sommer just came on the grass there at Malmedy.
It's
and the driver
Mastretta.
Yeah, Turnerson just goes into the back of Mastretta, but Mastretta then gets caught up there. Just a what do you call it moment? I've lost the words right there. It's a domino moment.
One tiny domino ultimately says to another, to another, to another. A big incident that forms itself up and says there is no way that you are going to be dealing with that. So I would say that is really tough for Mastretta. He needed the points, and he knows that he's done on average time, so this will really cost him out there. Mastretta's view of it, busy in front of him, puts the power on the exit. There's the jump. Oh, and I think he just gets scared.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go the way the other way from the slow driver there, but both cars were slow. He was basically caught on a rock and a hard place there, unfortunately for him, and not a lot he can do out there. I'm looking at this battle right now, Jake, because the gap that Valenteus had put on Castro and Spickett and Barry is massive. It's 3 seconds, and we're not even at lap 4 yet, and this lap time will be crucial. Castro lost 7 tenths last time by. to Valenteus, and needs to try to match it or just go with it. And he's gone a little bit wide there around the source, the final corner today. That's going to cost him a couple tenths. And these lap times would be crucial. What's Valenteus' time? It's going to be a 2:05.2.
Oh, it's Becca.
Oh, sorry, 2:05.8 for Castro. Becca's had a big moment out there. She's gone backwards, and I think Josh Brain's also had one.
Yeah, Andrew Petty has gone into the side, and Josh Brain had his own spin, seeing that come through. But side by side is Jack David Spickett. Have to go on the outside here and sweep around Andre Castro, and he does so with aplomb. Puts himself up into second position in his Lotus 79, and he will say, very nicely done out there. As now Becca, we see a look at this. This is how easily it goes wrong. On the brakes, trying to chuck it in. Petty had it loose going through, tags the rear tyre, just about an avoidance, secondary avoidance. Josh Brain loses it all on his own accord.
Yeah, and then one car goes into the pits, and I think that was Miguel Ferracho, who I think had another moment there and goes into the pits, and thankfully actually went into the correct pit, because some drivers this week didn't get the memo that it was classic and tried going in the GP pit entry, which is absolutely blocked, and we don't want a Spa-24 moment there for anyone having a small issue out there trying to get into the pit. But not a lot he could do. We saw going up Frischer there battling. This is at the back of the field, the Czechian driver of Philip Foyt. He's made up 14 places. Well, now it's 15 on lap 4 on a 32-car grid with 4 cars already out of the race. He's made up 15 places. What a start there. He's now pulled away from Mickey Friesen, who's got a lot of wing damage. Martinez will probably get Friesen in a moment. Taylor Ballant right behind him. But for Flick, I think he's going to catch up with Castro. Continues to fight Jack David Spickett, but I think that's wrong. I think you're going to have to look and hope that Jack David Spickett brings you to Valenteus.
Well, Jonas Fritzsche knows what he wants to do in this group. He wants to get in, but I think Aldrius is now 4 seconds down the road through 5 laps. So that's going to be really tough to try and gather back. Statewide by James Barry. They're in the pressure cooker here in this group. And Fritzsche, who has seen it all, done it all, well, no, I'm not going to make the move here. I'm going to have to do so at another time. It's also side by side for Taylor Ballant back there in 20th position. They're going to go 3 wide in that secondary group. There's going to be lunges aplenty that work themselves into lassos, and they tip up over each other here, there, and everywhere. It creates a massive chain reaction. It goes through. Big one on the straight.
Massive one on the straight. Not entirely sure what happened there. I think drivers just getting caught out by trying to just spread that. Who was the driver that went around? It was actually Morera. Morera was just trying to, well, he was following his own line, and Ross Banfield was going to take the line that Morera was going and had too much speed with the overspeed, and well, there was no defending there. That was the line Morera was taking. He got caught out big time. Siegel at the back of the field now, having his own little battles. As everywhere is still there. It's just so great to see the battles everywhere here. We knew what the Kemmel Straight would provide going up that hill. We just didn't know they'd be battling non-stop everywhere because of it.
This has proven to be a really tough race to start with. They've known they've had to fight so hard, with Freckleton then grabbing the contact with Taylor Ballant, which forced Espinea Martinez off the road, for example, for Morera's incident, for all of the troubles now that are starting to befall. This is tough. Ross Banfield along the straight here, goes to the right. It was covered. Ross, that's clumsy. And it's more drama, so Matthias Matthew Siegel now out of the race.
Yeah, I think Josh Brains also had a toe as well. I think Josh Mayer got caught up in that same moment as Taylor Ballant goes as well. They all got caught up there, and well, that's more clumsiness as well. We'll probably look at that in a moment as we're on board with Taylor Ballant right now, having a trying to have this battle as he's got Luca in front. They're trying to also catch up to Mickey Friesen, who's still out there with a broken wing. They're going to go side by side into Blanchimont, but Taylor decides it's not worth it. And one of the veterans of the series right behind, Jean-François Boscus, apologies there. Well, he knows what to expect, and he's just waiting for the moment as there is a spinner, and that looks like it's Riesman.
It is. It's Martin Reisman who gets himself back going again, actually tagged the wall there, trying to get back up to pace. So this has been a tough day. Martinez, by the way, also has a black flag for incident. So at the moment, you can see he goes through. Bang! Nothing you can do there. There was a mistake, and Espinea has realised that it's the wrong pits as well. And there's the flip up and over from Josh Brain. He is double out and probably somewhere still going. He must go. His home planet needs him.
Well, you know there's a helmet just there on the exit there of Pujon, right? There's a helmet that's got a little expo. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a spaceship, some MIB stuff right there. He's probably just gone in there and left. That was so unfortunate. I think the sim forced him into the pit because of that. Is we've got more battles going on here. Gabri Martinez, and we haven't talked about Gabri right here. Up 5 places into 5th, a really good start. Dylan Freckleton in the picture, holding off Eric Lukul and Taylor Ballant. But yeah, this is a real good start here from Gabri Martinez. He's trying to catch up to James Barry, and look at the names of the drivers here. Valente is the gold standard. Jack David Spickett, former champion. Andre Castro, pro driver. James Barry, one of the top radical drivers in the sim. Gabri Martinez, sim driver, sim racer. And then Gerdot Frischer, the GOAT. A great list of names there. And no offense, Gabri, I think one of them's the odd one out, and it might be you.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter that he's the odd one out because he's got something to prove, and I think everybody else doesn't in the comparison where they are at the moment. So I think Gabri knows that he's got pace to be up there and starting to knock on the door of that, and I think he'll be quite happy that he is having a very, very good time of things out there at this moment. So I would look around 5th place. Nothing to shake a stick at. You're going to get some big points out of today if you just stay calm and know how to work it. And speaking of working, Jack David Spickett, a second clear. Jean-Francois Boscus now here a little bit further back, trying to bring himself into play with Eric Lukul, as right now, Lukul not quite as local, but more local than the others, says, right, here comes the drive. Taylor Ballant getting the chance, because that was deep into the chicane for Dylan Freckleton to the final corner of La Source, and Freckleton overcooks it again. Has he forgotten his brakes out there at this point? Because there goes another spot. Lukul gets one back.
Very weird braking point there. I know it's tough to find your braking marker because you're usually looking very wide onto the left to find a braking marker there for the source, and maybe just had that small moment as Bottas is going to get a good run out of here, because I think Freckleton, he does have that toe in front, but it's not a double toe. It's not going to matter. Boscus going to go side by side, and that should be the move. But more out braking and late braking from Freckleton. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or the other way around for Freckleton, because he's proven that he can late brake. Just going to be the right corner.
Lukul having a little bit of a push then towards the inside, trying to go and gain that position and say, look, I can get there. It's a really interesting livery that he's got. He's got the Atari colours then or just above the driver's seat. He's got the likes of Star Wars on the front right. He's got a lot everywhere that's being shown right now with his livery out there. It's a smorgasbord of, I would say, memorabilia.
Well, and also a lot of these things weren't in the 80s. Well, Atari was. I was looking at Sega. Atari was, Safe Raiders were. This is basically what you saw in the 80s. So, yeah, and the 70s as well, Pepsi. So maybe it's just an homage to what it was back in the day. As you know, this is what we had in the 70s. Is probably what he's saying, but doing well to catch up, because in front of him is a man who's trying to go fast and is struggling right now. Is Taylor Ballant in a Sega livery with a certain blue hedgehog on the nose of that car.
Yes, and that certain blue hedgehog right now would have a certain saying here that Eric Lukul will probably be thinking about saying here in this race on for 19th. And would it be "you're too slow"?
The problem is, on a slipstream track like this, probably isn't be able to. And here's Gabri Martinez. I wanted to look at the top 5 because I know Andy T in the chat's been looking at it as well. Jack David Spickett has closed the gap, but they're matching right now. As now Kartik Pai's looking to go and make a move on Cao Young, gets it done technically around the outside to set up for Lecon, which is always a really nice move to see. And I do wonder if that gap's just going to slowly close. We're not even halfway through the race, so keep your eyes on that timing tower with Jack David Spickett and Valenteas. Top right, here's Freckleton. I think don't tell me he's had another moment here at the source. Well, if I had a dime for Dylan Freckleton making a mistake at the source, I'd have 2 dimes. Not a lot, but very strange that it's happened here.
Kartik Pai, 9th position right now. He's slowly worked his way up the order. He's got the pass done on Cao Young, which has given him a whole heap of placement now to say, look, I am pushing and saying I can get myself further forward. I wonder as well, maybe at the front, whether Aldris Valenteas is managing the race rather than going out there and trying to win by 1,000 seconds out there. It doesn't matter whether you win by 1,000 seconds or 4. You just have to manage it. So maybe he is dialing back slightly, and that's allowed Jack David Spickett the fastest lap of the race and the ability to chase with Andre Castro in tow, knowing that he's close, but not necessarily enough. Cal Young through Blanchimont. He's not done. He wants to find a way back.
Won't be finding it here as he goes into the bus stop, though. I feel he's a bit too far away, and he is indeed coming by with a very nice purple livery, overalls there, sorry, as he's got that livery. He had a comment for us, Jake. I don't know if you saw it. We always have a bit of fun. But Cal's not exactly that fast because he's got the old GSRC logos. Well, he threatened to take them off if they weren't updated, so may have to have a look into that. Valenteas doesn't need GSRC logos. He's just gone fastest regardless.
Well, I would say if he threatens to take the logos off, then he'll lose an extra tenth, and Eric Luca will lose more than just an extra tenth. He'll lose a handful of places there at the final chicane as he just overcooks it into the corner and decides, you know what, he's going to burn it around and try and get himself back onto pace. And as the side of his car says, that was a bit of a curly-whirly.
Oh, I could do with one of those right now. Yeah, it was just a bit too much onto the brakes there and overheating the tyres. You've got to be losing out that grip. And on that corner, because of how slow you're going, you need that mechanical grip. So that was never going to help him. And trying to also turn into the bus stop with too much speed, that's also going to just say the car going no thank you as Gabriel Martinez continues on. And here's Valenteas. I've been looking, and the top 5 are basically the same times. 2:04.6 for Valenteas, 2:04.7 and 2:04.7 for Spickett and Castro, 2:04.8 for Barry, 2:04.9 for Gabriel. Everybody's pretty much in this top 5 running the same pace. It's just etching out those extra tenths and those extra moments, and that's what Valenteas does good. He just really works on this, owns it down to the best of his ability, and he has really started to make this car click a little bit more. And I got to be honest, with no Zach Leonhardt, the question would have been, could he have been threatened today? Because I do wonder if Jack, if he didn't get that bad start, could he have threatened Valenteas? I don't think he would have. I think this is just the pace that everyone it has at the moment. And Valenteas, as you said, this is very much managing it. He's not pushing. He's just hitting his marks. And these fast laps are only coming down because the tank's getting less.
I think he's sitting and looking at today, and I think he knows, does Aldris Valenteas, that he is somebody who just does his best every single time he goes out there. And it's like seeing a machine at work. It's like seeing an old journo creature, but he can replicate it across 3 categories, which is something that you don't often get to say out there in iRacing. Once he sets his mind to it, he's someone who can go out there and absolutely dominate. I also want to point this out as we head towards the halfway stage. We got 4 drivers who are up double-digit positions in this one, and from backwards to forwards, Martin Reisman's up 12, up 11 is Taylor Ballant, up 16 is Philip Foyt, and up a full, unfortunately, 9, so it's only 3, but still up 9 is Barry West.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. That's going to be the feel-good story with Barry West up 9. And he's actually having Foyt right behind him a little bit right there. There he is. He's just out of the slipstream, but I think he's just getting a small moment as he's got his young face on the wall there. It's Nigel Mansell, but we like having that joke now for a while, and he continues on. I do miss seeing what he sees on the monitor, but I do also like to see everything here. The full concentration, the seat belts, the VR headset, really forcing it through with the steering wheel. And also remember, some of these drivers, they love the real immersion. He'll go down in a minute. There he is, looking for his shifter. There he goes. Some of them do like using the H patterns. He's doing the best he can. And, well, he's actually had a really good moment out there because look at the time he's just managed to gain on Foyt.
Yeah, he's done really well through the middle sector, and it might be just the way that he's got it set up compared to maybe Philip Foyt, who's going to be a Demon Deacon, say, from Wake Forest on the straight. So I think he'll be looking around at this saying, right, I want to start jumping. I want to start finding where my car is faster than others. And it does create a little bit of a setup nightmare. We normally talk about this as being a low downforce circuit as Spa because you have to give up somewhere out there. It's whether you give up 2 sectors on the straight or 1 sectors through the corners. And for the moment, Journo Freacher will be keeping his eyes behind as well because he's back. Marco Nurmler, after his spin, he's still stuck there in 7th and trying to find a way through.
In all the cars driving around at the moment, 4 drivers are losing positions. Gonot's down 2, Nurmala's down 4, Friesen's down 8, and Dylan Freckleton's down 7. Everybody else is either retired or laps down. That just goes to show that it's a really competitive field. So for Nurmala to really make these spots back up off that spin, fantastic. Freischer as well, trying to battle on behind Karthik Pai. We saw one yellow car get caught out in the barrier down the Kemmel Straight before. Well, not this one. As I always like saying this, Jake, we come to the Kemmel Straight. I never realized how steep that is. Until you're there in person, you don't realize how steep that hill is. It really is a climb up the mountain.
Well, I think it's something like 80 meters worth of elevation as you climb up it. So it is truly a tough run through. It's been run in a few variants of the Liège-Bastogne-Liège race as well. So it is a truly magnificent climb up the hill as you try and get it sorted. So that's just how much you have to go and push for it. And for your cycling fans out there, if you go to the town of Stavelot, just up the top of the hill of Stavelot, there is a monument over to the Hannibal Eddie Merckx there. So that's one for you fans to go and watch there. Karthik Pai sitting just behind Ross Banfield with Cal Young. Quite clever actually here. They've been able to reel him back down in, and Banfield 205 flat on that last lap. Just looking at his car, he's got away without damage to the front wing, and I think that's really, really telling for the way he wants his race to run, that he's got a car that is still performing at 100% despite the contact with Em Moreira.
You need here, because you look at Mickey Friesen, he's gone down the order because he's had that wing damage in that crash before, and you need all the downforce, you need all the speed here, and if you get any broken wings, well, that air's going to be disrupted and it's going to hurt you. As now the pressure's on Martinez, I feel. Friescher's really got to the back of him now and starting to apply that vintage pressure that he's been known for, and I think a lot of it would just be hitting his marks, not trying to do the, as I call the Hamilton, the modern day dummies. He's going to keep this old school, and if he's got the run, he'll go for the run, and I think this is it right now. Where does Martinez go to defend? He'll take the inside, and it's a late move out there by Friescher because he had to hesitate for a second. He does have the lead now. It's about a car gap there, but Gabri's going to go late braking. You're going to have to go a little bit later on that. Free up the ears, turn them back. Friescher, side-by-side from Lecombe, into Malmedy side-by-side, really is turning the pages back a little bit. That's a great little run there from Friescher, and I think Martinez, he yields and he tips his hat off.
He wasn't quite, and that's going to bring Nurmala to the inside, and Nurmala's up over the top, and both of them go spearing off left at the end of Brussels, and that cannot be put on Gabri Martinez. That is very, very not good there from Gabri Martinez. He just stood on the brakes on the racing line and said to Marco, how dare you?
Gabri. We talk about the man. We know that we know he can be very aggressive out there. We know he's had his hot moments, but every time, with no offense, every time you say he's doing really good, just something happens. But you are right. You look back at the incident, nothing there of Gabri's fault. The door was not really there, especially through the last part of Brussels. There's no need to even try and force a card there, because he's also just trying to keep to one line, because you've also got Friescher going a little bit wide. Look at this again, and you can see he goes into the corner. Friescher's gone a little bit too wide, and while he's not on that curb, he's still on the racing line there, Jake, and then he can't turn into the racing line because that's a gap that's always closing, and Nurmala's just gone into it. A lot of damage there, and do we need to see the next part? Unfortunately, I think we're going to see the next part. This is not acceptable in the sim or in the real world. That is dangerous.
It is, because it pushes Ross Banfield out wide, and he loses then a bit of time to go along with it. So that puts him behind Andrew Petty, Cal Young, and Karthik Pai. Pai now up to 6th place as Andre Castro now with a 2:04.2 sets the fastest lap of the race. Into the pit comes Marco Nurmala with damage, and that will see him fall like a stone down through the field. So that is a real shame for a driver who has just made a mistake that put him back into that position, and then trying to be desperate to go and get a pass back has again found a mistake. And that's the story of what you have to be in these races. We hold every sim racer up there to a high standard, and that standard has to be, well, if it's not perfect, it's got to be better than that. Ilka Cotasalo, though, on the back of Josephine Becker. This the race on for 11th and 12th.
It's great to see Josephine Becker back in the series. We haven't seen her well, we haven't seen her fighting at the top for a little bit. It's been quite competitive, or she's getting caught out in early wrecks, and not her fault. She got caught out in an early wreck yesterday in IMSA Vintage. Totally not her fault either, but it's just great to see her onto this. I don't know if she's actually been here in person to race around, but I mean, like we always say, if you know motor racing, you know Spa, and you would have driven it in some iteration, even if it's the bad version on a video game that doesn't have laser scanning with cars with open wheelers. We won't mention what it is, but Cotasalo trying to catch up 6 today. Becker up 4 as well, trying to get in that slipstream. But the moment he starts to turn into Lafagna, he's just starting to get that dirty air. So he's having that understeer mid-corner through Lafagna, and that's really affecting him. This is interesting. Andre Castro is closing in on Jack David Spicky. He had the fastest lap last time. This car is really starting to get light there. I wonder if he's not running out of fuel, but running out of Guinness out there. Drink responsibly.
Well, I would say that he is understanding this, and he realizes that for a car that is looking to put itself Irish, he's got to try and push forward like an Irish rugby union scrum at the moment. Just keep driving the legs, and the more effort he puts in, the more he'll get. 204 flat again. They take a couple tenths of a second out of Aldris Valenteas, but at a 2/3 stage of the race, it's too little too late. They needed to be doing this sort of pace here, Craig. Well, about 10 laps ago, if I'm quite honest.
They need to be almost finding a second a lap at this stage, or, well, half a second. I'm a little bit, exaggerating a bit when I say a second here. Half a second right now could be interesting. But mind you, Castro 3 tenths last time, but he has to catch up to what Jack Davis Pickett is doing, and I don't think he's going to be doing it. You gotta give a shout out to Castro. Like I said, he was at Sebring yesterday, winning 2 races in the real world, comes home. I've got some free time. Let's dive into the Lotus 79s, and I bet he doesn't have a lot of practice time on this today, and that's probably what also caused some of this driving at the start. He wasn't on the pace right away, and it almost feels like he's just started to find that rhythm now. It's like riding a bicycle, Jake. You just get a little bit rusty at the start, and then after a couple pedals, you remember how to do it, and I think that's Castro right now. But as we were saying before, Valenteas is the gold standard. Jack's a former champion. It's still tough out there. You're still going to make the moves.
Andre Castro representing the Burosud helmet out there that he currently runs with in his sim team at the moment. Doesn't have a Burosud Lotus 79 to go with that is painted up for him. So next best thing in terms of that. You could argue that the black and white zebra that you can certainly find on half of his livery is represented by a black and white pint of Guinness.
Yeah, I'm not a Guinness man, if I'm brutally honest. I can't really say that, but I would see that as long as it's the right type of can and not one that gets low. I do like the fact that it's, I always like this joke, it's an American driving an Irish beverage livery, but Americans love that, and I don't blame them right now, can you? Really good products. If the products in Europe is still trying to push on, I want to see these lap time. Valenteas was fastest, a 2:04.076. Any of these drivers faster. Jack breaks into the 2:04s. Andre had nothing to respond. It's a 10th faster than Valenteas, but as we kept saying, he needs to be doing the 10th faster like 5 laps ago. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to Valenteas at this point. 3.5 seconds is the gap, and there's no traffic to talk about either in this race.
No, it's such a long lap around here that the last car on the lead lap is a minute back on the race lead. Such is the way that this circuit runs. If you're sitting down and understanding that this is going to be a 21 lap race, you want to be going 21 divided 123 divided by 21. That's how many seconds a lap that you're going to be needing to lose, which is 5 seconds a lap, and you're not going to get it in a field that is this strong. So I think you're really starting to get the sense of how are you going to tell who's quick and who's not. It's just a case of you race flat out. This is as sprint as it gets. Riceman looking to go and get the pass and easily dispatches of that as he goes through. Very interesting team there, the BTR out there, because it's got Dutch colours on the left, it's got British colours on the right, and on the front, it's got Janne Lehmann's Finnish flag.
That reminds me of a livery I tried to run once, but Dutch on one side, British on the other. I love it, actually. This is what I love about sim racing. Is a lot of these drivers will try and run classic liveries. A lot of drivers will try and run cursed liveries. Looking at you, Mickey Freeze, on a Nissan GTP livery on a Lotus 79. Why? And then you get Barry West. Well, He's driving the old school. It's the Renault Elf, and that's what the team championship is. If you wonder why they're also like racing team names, that's because some of them like to call themselves the old team from the 70s. And this is what Barry's car is. It is a replica of that Renault Elf car, or design, not the car, a replica of that design on a Lotus 79. And that's why he represents the the Renault, sorry, because he just loves it. And I bet if you asked him, I won't ask him after the race, but I bet if you ask him, he's just got a lot of memories with that Renault car, because there were just a few drivers when Renault was there in the 70s.
And so, when you talk about Renault, this would have been of an era out there where they were just starting to put the building blocks together and get into position. They were lightning fast as a team, but had the unfortunates, Craig, out there of having an engine that decided it wants to go pop every 5 minutes.
What era are we talking about? Isn't that just every Renault engine in the last 30, 40 years? I know that's a dig at Renault, but it's true. Renault haven't had the best of records when it comes to engines, apart from when Alonso had that winning car back in the 2000, in the noughties. So it's an engine that was always a bit struggling, but that was the old school, old days as well. It was all about reliability back in the 70s and 80s and keeping yourself alive, more or less than just having the fastest car. Yeah, and this was pretty much, I think, when the Lotus 79 came out, this is when you really started to see the end of having engines needing to be reliable, despite they still had to be. And this is when you started to see having the gains and the advantages by trying to find every nook and cranny with the downforce. So could you imagine a Lotus 79 with a Renault engine? It would have been fast, Jake. It wouldn't have got very far, though, with that engine.
No, it wouldn't have. So for the moment, Barry West, he's going quite far in 13th place. Again, now of 11 spots out there, and sets himself up actually quite wonderfully with the way that his running has been going about. The gap is 3.2 seconds at the front of the field as Aldrius Valenterius then is just keeping himself comfortable at the moment, heading through the final corner and over towards 5 laps to go. Cal Young is there, and now Eric Lukal going at it here with Mickey Friesen, and Mickey finds himself then going backwards through the field. The damage to the front left wing plate is certainly keeping himself on his toes right now, and he just cannot get any corner speed through any right-hander.
But also, not only does he have that wing damage, the skirt, not on this side, the other side, the skirt is also pushed in. So that ground effect downforce is also going to be affected, because those Venturi tunnels, they are simulated. They're going to be struggling out there. So he has that speed, but he's not having that downforce. And you can see as he almost just had a little bit of understeer going through Blanchimont. Can really work it with the mechanical grip, because you don't need downforce. You don't need aero when you're going through the slow corners at like the bus stop. But when he starts to just get here, he is struggling. And, well, that gap's 4/10. We'll see how much he gains when he comes through La Source. I wouldn't be surprised by the time he gets up here to Lacombe. Well, the gap's now 6/10. I bet he barely makes a 10th, because he just doesn't have that top speed anymore. As watch him come down the line, the times, it's going to be definitely different. Mickey was doing 2:07. He still is. He's a second and a half slower than what Lukal did last time.
I tell you what, if you could do with a curly whirly, I could do with an aero.
But I'd like, yeah, actually, no, I'm with you. Other confectionery are available. I'll take the curly whirly over the aero. Aero's still nice, but they're a bit too soft and bubbly for me. And, well, this battle's unfortunately not bubbling up, because, you see, Mickey, he did gain some time there, a couple tenths on the straight, but what's he going to do as he comes through the corners? Lacombe, the left worked for him, the right didn't work for him. Here's a car that has been working today. The hardest charger, get this, Jake, he's up 18th. And remember you were saying there were 4 drivers with double-digit gains? There's now 5. Taylor Bullen in 10. They're up 10. Eric Lukal up 12. Riesman up 16. This man, Philip Foyt, up 18. Barry West has got that double digit finally. He's up 11 just in front of him. And they're still having a good old ding-dong out here for 13th.
And critically for Philip Foyt, his first qualifying lap didn't quite go as planned. Well, his second qualifying lap didn't go as planned. That would probably be one of the reasons why. Pushing too hard out of Campus Corner. And so he gets into the gravel, drops those 2 wheels and half a second to go along with it, and falls out of range now of Barry West as he focuses on. Kartik Pai, though, is holding a train quite nicely, though, here with Cal Young, Andrew Petty and Ross Banfield trying to join it on the back.
I'm surprised. Petty's been in the wars, and I'm surprised that he's got a car that is pretty much clean here, doing a really good job. And I had to just have a look. I was like, that car can't be right after everything he's been through, but he is indeed. Cao Young really struggling out there as well, because remember, he's had some moments out there. I think he does need those GSRC logos updated, because he just can't find that edge onto Kartik Pai. Granted, he's up 4 places, Pai's up 8 places, but he's just not finding those extra tenths, and Petty's got the 10th on him. So what, with 4 to go, Petty's got a chance here to go up a position, but Young's trying to catch up to Pai. And I'm just looking, where is he going to make this? It's going to have to be on the straights. Through the corners, he's really struggling with that dirty air. And, well, Petty's enjoying it right now. He's really enjoying just having that edge of it, as he's really pushing on. But for Young, he's just not catching up to Pai as much as he'd like to right now.
Kartik is pushing the extremities of the circuit here, and I think Cao Young is happy to just sit himself into the measure of where he is at the moment, and he does a very good job of running through the corners, with Andrew Petty just behind, keeping him honest, catching the curb there and having to go full Tony Hawk Pro skater mode in order to get that through. I'm sure he picked up a letter going through the middle of that. He understands that this is going to be tough, but at the moment, overtake is going to be a few too many letters with a little bit too little time at this stage, unless you can claw in that gap 10th by 10th, reel it in. Dirty air will play a big factor here in the late stages of this race.
Talk about skateboarders. If he's trying to do skate, well, Jamie Griffin from the UK is one of the best drop players at skates, but Cal's not able to copy him with a Merlin flip at the moment, and maybe he's just hoping he can just do an ollie instead of a 50-50 grind, because he's lost more time to Pai coming out of the bus stop. And the bus stop's always treacherous on Sim, no matter what car, because drivers really want to attack the curbs, and if you attack the curbs, you hit the sausages. You don't want to be hitting the sausages. It's a bit too early in the day to go and get some food out in these fantastic stands just here. They are wonderful, Jake. If you go here, you've got to try some of the sausages at the track. But he's really now out of that slipstream. He'll get it a little bit as they go up the hill, but that allows Petty right behind. He only picked up a 10th again, but he's closing. And that man in that striking livery, I know it looks like a Toyota livery, Jake. He made this himself. I think it was inspiration, but it was not meant to be an homage.
Yeah, it's inspired. He's got the T-Tet sponsorship there on the front wing as well, which you'll be very happy that he's running out there at this point. And, oh, he gets a massive kicker tail as he sets himself in. And then a massive slide that follows with Barry West looking in his mirrors. Here comes Philip Foyt to the outside. Can he go the long way here at Lake Coombe? Answer is, you left the door ajar, Barry. Can't let him in. He'll get through the cat flap. He doesn't.
No, he has got the lock on the cat flap right now, and now he's going to make sure he put the lock on the door, and it might be one of those two. But he's gone a bit too wide, and he actually understeered out of the corner a little bit there, and Foyt was trying to take the normal line, and unfortunately that's a bit unlucky. The key thing, I'm just looking at the cars, both of them get away with that, and in these last few laps, the last thing you want is to try and drive around with a damaged car. So a little bit of a mistake there, but that's just them having some hard battling.
But it now means that effectively Philip Foyt can be 14th all day long. He gets on the radio with Barry going, what was that all about? The line that you took there into Brussels corner. So very tough to deal with. Michael Taylor here is in a scrap. He is the last car on the lead lap. He's got Taylor Ballant then just in front as Aldria starts styling with some fastest laps here in the final stages. So this will be another good battle, but look at that front wing. You're minus half of it. You need a little bit more in that Jib Racing car.
Not entirely sure what you're going to be able to do with half a wing. In fact, look at him start to turn left. Well, the car's doing nothing out there for him, so I do wonder. Behind as well, I had to check the Ferraccio had half a wing, but he's actually got one wing, but one color, one side of it's red, one side of it's black. So there's a car with no front wing, and there's another car with a wing that you can't tell because it's black on black. And there's not a very good color combination there, but he's got that inspired Toyota livery from, I can't remember the name of the anime. You remember it, Jake, because you're that type of person. I'm a little bit out of fashion, but Taylor, he's going to need a bit of a miracle right now.
Well, I'm going to zoom in then and try and understand where that is going to be. That is going to be a My Dress Up Darling livery out there, of course, for as far as that sets itself out and into play. So Miguel Facado doing well. I will note as well with Michael Taylor, a proper up-to-date GSRC logo on the side. That is a pure 2/10 advantage that he holds.
Yeah, he needs that right now. I think that's the only thing that's keeping him alive when it comes to this car, because he's only got one wing, and that's very weird. Surely this should be a mechanical black flag in the real world, with half a wing not really helping him, but I tell you what, does he need it? He's catching up to the Sega car. Really going fast right now, and he's got a chance if he wants to late break here on the penultimate lap, but he won't. He allows Bullen to just make his way through, but 42 seconds behind them is the leader. So, well, there's not going to be any overtakes from lap cars today. Everyone that's on the lead lap will not get lapped from now, but what is Taylor going to have to do? The right-handers, I say they were good, and then he goes and does that, Jake. I think I'll just be quiet, because the left-handers should be the ones he's struggling on.
Well, he needs those left-handers to work as Andreas Valenteas starts the final lap of the race here at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's been a long old slog of a race here today, and he has been really working at this, saying, right, this is what I'm capable of, and this is what I can find. There's Jack David Spickett down the road there in second position, but critically, he got the gap in the opening 5 laps, and he hasn't looked back since. He goes up to the highest point of the circuit, Malmedy Corner, and then crest up over the rise and down to Brussels Corner here. This long 180-degree right, so easy to get it wrong and just to lock it inside front as you go through there. Pye, Young, Petty, their gap all steady, but this is poetry in motion, the way that Andreas Valenteas is piloting his way into the middle sector. Just no pressure, no understanding that this is going to be difficult for him, just putting minimal work through his Momo steering wheel and over towards out of double gauche into the Fagnes chicane here, the right that follows on with the left. You take it and say, look, medium speed, just 105 miles an hour as you work into the next right-hander that sets itself off as follows then of Campus and over for the next one then of Stavolo. From here, it's all about driving yourself over to home, because he knows that he's got a handful of corners left and everyone behind him has been left pretty much in his wake. He knows, does Andreas Valenteas, this is another case of him being better than everyone. Not just here in a Lotus 79, but he's better than everyone at IMSA Vintage. He's better than everyone in the Lotus 49s. And he will say that time and time and time again. He's a unicorn when it comes to classics running. He's one corner away, the last horse hairpin. Stamp on the throttle as carefully as you dare. Andreas Valenteas with a perfect day at the office. He gets his triple crown again on a dominant display of racing. The battles will go with JDS second, Andre Castro finishing on the podium, but Cal Young, I think, is just going to get the legs here today. But Andrew Petty from a mile back locks it up and gets into him. He's going to let him go. Ross Banfield's going to get 2 for the troubles. Will there be 2 taken then by Hans Sommer? The answer is no. Sommer out of fuel as he now goes towards the line. Oh, that's heartbreak.
He's got a black flag as well. I don't know what's happened to him there. He's also actually run out of fuel. I think he's blown the engine. I think he's blown the engine there, and Jack David Spickett admits that the start cost him, but as he just comes on, Hans Sommer now, this is the replay. Can he just coast his car down? He will indeed. He's blown the engine with 1 corner to go. I wonder if he forgot that it was classics. It's got to be that case, but I've got to say something, Jake. 3 is the magic number. Barry West will get that 13th. 3 is the magic number for Valenteas. He'll get 12, sorry. I forgot about that. It's actually Riesman's going to get 13th, 14th. Lukop's going to go wide. Is Friesen going to get by in time? It's going to be the longest race here. I was going to say 3 is the magic number for Valenteas. Adelaide, Bathurst, Spa. What a set of tracks to come home dominant. And Boskus is the man who misses out on getting extra spots.
He finishes critically, but he's 17th. It could have been, as he crossed the line, 8th or 9th place. So it goes to show you that really, really will hurt in terms of a 8th place drop on that mistake. But there's no mistakes with that guy. He is simply put better than everyone, and he knows it at this point in time. Andreas Valenteas, job done. 43 minutes, 39 seconds. He wins by 3.8 out there over Jack David Spickett, as Andre Castro will finish 3rd. It's then James Barry and Journo Freacher 4th and 5th. Nice to see Journo this season, as Kartik Pai is 6th and Ross Banfield is 7th. Cal Young will end up 8th after drama with Andrew Petty on the final lap. driving himself into his side at the last horse hairpin, with Josephine Becker taking that 10th place.
Got that 10 play fast for that great move on lap 3. Ilka Costa-Salo will be in 11th. And then come the double-digit men. Barry West up 12 into 12. Philip Foyt will be up 19 into 13th. Martin Riesman up 17 into 14th. And Eric Lukul up 13 into 15th. Mickey Friesen survives with a broken wing after that incident earlier, will be in 16th, gaining that position at the end because Hans Sommer, well, he blew the engine and had to coast down the hill into 17th. Jean-François Boscus will be 18th. Taylor Ballant goes up 10 into 19th. And Michael Taylor rounds out on all the lead lap into 20th.
Well, 21st then overall is going to end up being Marco Nurmela, and he'll be the first of those a lap down. Miguel Fajardo will be 22nd, with those 2 laps down being Dylan Freckleton and Josh Brain at 4 down. Gabriel Martinez, your first retiree, with M. Moreira, with Matthias Matthew Siegel, Ricardo Espinella out of the race, and so too Luke Turnison, Diego Mastretta, and then the final 2 over the page being Aaron Blair and Mikhail Zabala, then making up your 32 then that took to play at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Craig, a wonderful race then in terms of a triple crown once again being achieved. It's just a case of he's so consistent out there. He is so smooth when he gets himself going, and he almost now has that undefeatable aura about him here, Craig, that Aldrius just sets himself up on the grid and everyone just quakes in their boots a little bit.
We always joke, who can beat Valenteus? Leon Hardy's beating him, Jack Davis Pickett's beating him, and Valenteus is beating himself. Because remember, we saw the Lotus 49s. If you've missed the Lotus 49s a few weeks ago, outbroke himself. That's the only loss he's had this, well, one of the only losses he's had this season. No one can stop him. But I tell you what, Valenteus will stop himself next week. We're at Miami next week, Jake. He didn't turn up to IMSA Vintage at Miami. I wonder if he's deciding it's not going to be for me. The track, remember, it's a temporary track. The grip's not there, and I wonder if that just puts him off. That's going to be an interesting race next week.
It might be even a case that he doesn't want to afford it out there and he doesn't want to buy the track. That could be another reason why. May 17th, you can catch that here with us on your Sundays here as part of a Genesis Extreme production. 4:30 UTC, 12:30 Eastern. You can catch yourself in on that here with us. As far as great racing comes along with the Global Sim Racing channel, there is more up on the horizon here, because on Thursday we'll be back with the Skip Barber Race Series. They'll be heading to Charlotte for their running, and then of course we've mentioned Miami, but Grand Prix Legends will be over at Interlagos, and the IMSA Vintage Series will get a very vintage feel on the old Lime Rock Park to go and navigate their way around. From the entire team that's brought this one here for you today, from Craig King, Christian Deploy, and Dougie Beard, my name is Jake Sperry. Spa brings the heat. Spa makes drivers do funny things and sometimes make silly mistakes. It also pushes drivers to go faster, stronger, better than they have done at any other circuit, and it does increase the gaps from time to time. There's no doubt about it. He's number one for a reason, because he is a driver who is better than everybody else right now in anything that sits itself classic. Aldrius Valenteus is one driver that you do not trifle with out there, and he's proving in the way that he's running today, he is simply put untouchable.
This is iRacing.